I love Spencer Strand's yellow headband along with the yellow banner at the bottom. I think that was a really cute thing.
I appreciate
right away.
it.
So, just saying, I like it. So, I have Buffalo over the Jets. I don't know.
That is not an upset. Are you kidding me?
That's. What did you pick last week?
Dude,
what did you pick last week?
Buffalo over the Jets?
What did
Jets
you
are like
pick last
the worst
week?
team in the NFL right now.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I have a little bit of man crush on Adrian Peterson.
These are your hosts, Brock Malik, Spencer Strand. I am Travis Brzezinski, and this is the Cover 3 Show. Welcome to the show where we pledge not to change our last names to Hittner. These are your hosts, Brock Malik, Spencer Strand. I am Travis Brzezinski, and this is the Cover 3 Show.
It's great to be back.
Good day, mates.
Feels great.
In today's show, episode 4, we'll be talking about the NFC, contenders, pretenders, who's the real deal, and who is not. We'll also give you our Cover 3 stats of the week, and we also may talk if Flacco is an elite quarterback. Along with that, we'll also talk about Week 5 headlines and give our picks and predictions. First of all, I'd just like to give a shout-out to some of our fans. I know we've had some people give us their top 5 power rankings, give us some of their picks throughout the week, especially Steve Maves. We thank you for that. If there's anyone else that would like to do that, please leave a comment below, or you can also hit us up on Twitter.
Perfect.
So let's get this train going.
Let's ride.
Let's hear your guys' team power rankings for this week. 5-1. Spencer, let's start with you this time.
All right. At number 5, I have Kansas City. I think with that win last week over New York, really solidified. I can't speak right now. Sorry about that. Then we'll move on to number 4, and we got New England there. And then at number 3, we have New Orleans. Number 2, Seattle, and then number 1, obviously Denver.
All right. Geez, I'm gonna start with just number 1. Work my way backwards for just a different feel. Start number 1, Seattle. Number 2, Denver. Both of them they've been there my whole time. Number 3, New Orleans. They're playing good football. They're winning. I hate to do the same thing as Spencer, but number 4 is got to be the Patriots. And number 5. Oh man, there's so many teams. I feel like they could fit in there. Jeez. I don't know. Miami.
Oh,
they played
my age, dude.
pretty tough.
Did you do any research before this?
Actually, yeah, most research.
You know, I was thinking you were going to throw Jacksonville in there, maybe.
Well, I should have. Just something different. Throw people off.
You know, I had New England in my power rankings last week, and you guys were giving me crap. I guess you got them in yours now.
I don't think I did. Check the tape, Spence.
You did, Brock. I remember.
Check the tapes.
All right. To switch it up, maybe should I just start from number 3 and work my way?
Work it backwards and then up, yeah.
Once again, fans, we want your guys' top 5, so we want to hear what you guys have to say. Now, Breezy's top 5. Number 3, Seattle. Number 4, Indianapolis. Number 2, New Orleans. And number 5, Kansas City. And number 1, Denver.
Now, who was number 2?
New Orleans.
Oh, my God. You have Seattle at 3, huh? That's, wow.
Indianapolis in there, dude? That's a sketchy pick for sure.
Well, those are my top 5, and...
I didn't know this was bold prediction yet.
Oh, my God.
All right. Let's go to the new segment we have adopted this week. We're going to do a little NFC style of contender, pretender. Now, to justify as a contender, we're talking about teams that you feel that can come out of the NFC. So, let's start with Dallas. Contender or pretender for you two?
I think it's clear that they're a pretender. They've been a pretender for like the last 10 years, and I love every second of it.
I disagree completely. I think they're a contender just because of that division. It's probably the worst division in football right now. They're sitting at the top, so right now they're going to be in the playoffs. So I'd say contender.
I'm with Brock. They're a pretender. They're like a good old-fashioned roller coaster. You love them when they're at Six Flags, but you hate them when they're your NFL franchise. They are so up and down. They haven't won back-to-back games in their last, or they've won back-to-back games only 2 times in their last 23 regular season games. So for me, I need to see some consistency. I need to see a little bit of a win streak here. So they're pretender for me. Let's head to Detroit. Pretender or contender?
I think they're a contender as well. I think they're really good. They showed what they can do against a good team against Chicago, and it's really going to be a test this week, going to Green Bay. So it's going to be fun to watch, and we're going to see a lot about them this week.
Yeah, I definitely think they're a contender. They really opened my eyes when they played Chicago last week. Big game this week. Can they take the next step? That'll be the question.
And you two, once again, are wrong. They are a pretender.
Wow.
Their wide receiver depth is minimal. I mean, they had Reggie Bush as their number 2 wide receiver option on Sunday.
Yeah, but they got 2 beast tight ends.
That's fine. But can Bush stay healthy? And Stafford, his decision-making is so up and down.
And they're running the ball better than they've done ever in the past.
That's fine for 1 week, but can they keep that going? We all know that Detroit's not known as...
1 week. Bell and Bush have been tearing the league up. Look at their stats, bro.
Bell has been playing good football. He's on my fantasy team now, so.
They're a pretender. Let's move on to Chicago. Contender or pretender?
I think they're a pretender. I don't know. I just think Cutler's so all over the place. He's got his hot streaks and he's got his cold streaks. He's due for a little bit of a cold streak here. And, yeah, I think it's about time they start losing some more games.
Yeah, definitely a pretender. Go back to what Travis said. Decision-making, I thought you were talking about Jay Cutler instead of Matthew Stafford.
Hey, you can throw him in there, too. I'm okay with that.
Sometimes it feels like he doesn't even know what he's doing back there. And you got Green Bay and you got Detroit in that division. I don't see them contending at all.
I have to give you guys a round of applause. You guys actually got this one right. They are a pretender. We really see not having Melton on that defense, what the effects of that last week, and I think that is gonna affect them going long term. And their only quality win is against Cincinnati, who hasn't looked too terribly good yet this year. And like
Cincinnati
I said,
lost that game. They were up by 10 in the second half and pissed it away.
But hey, they still went and got it. But Cutler, last week he reverted back to that old version. So for right now, for me, they're a pretender. Green Bay, contender or pretender? I think I know what's coming here. So
they're one of the hottest contenders in the NFC, if not the hottest. No, I think they're a contender. They'll turn it around, and hopefully this week will show what they can do, and they'll be able to put a few wins together and get on top of that division and make some noise from there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know who put this outline together. I didn't know we were just talking about the NFC North. But after what I just said about the other two teams, yes, I would take Green Bay as a contender. I think they got the best QB in the game next to Peyton Manning, and I think they'll get it back on track.
You guys are wrong once again. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, no pun intended. But Green Bay at this point is a pretender.
So every single one of them in the NFC North are pretenders, or what?
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Do you think the Minnesota Vikings are somehow going to come back and win that division? Like, one of those teams is obviously a contender because they're going to make the playoffs.
Now, once again, my criteria is if they can come out of the NFC and play in the Super Bowl.
You're talking okay, I thought we were talking playoffs.
I thought you said contend
playoffs?
in the AFC.
Yeah, playoffs.
That's the way you made it sound.
Yeah, I agree. Well, because, yeah.
All right. Hear me out on Green Bay. Their pass defense is ranked 28th in the league, giving up 311 yards per game. In the NFL nowadays, you need to at least be able to minimize the damage on your pass D. Because other teams like Atlanta, New Orleans, even San Francisco we've seen in Week 1 will just shred that to pieces. And with Green Bay, can they stay healthy?
Well, that's the thing.
I don't know.
Hayward's out. Burnett's out.
Right. Hayward should be back soon. He'll help a lot.
But I will say there is a silver lining in this. Whoever wins this week out of Green Bay and Detroit will be a contender to me because this is a huge game.
Take it easy, Bradley Cooper.
All right, let's head to Atlanta. Contender or pretender?
They're a pretender for me. I talked about them all season. I don't really think they're as good as some people think they are. A lot of people picked them to win the South. I smartly picked the Saints, I think for good reason. I just don't think, they're a pretender.
Definitely think they're a contender. Still early. Mike Smith, that offense, they'll figure it out. They'll get back to the playoffs. I think they still have a shot.
I'm going to have to award this one to Spencer. They are a contender.
How many points did he get on that one?
Half a point.
Okay.
Travis, just because of what you think they are doesn't mean you got them wrong.
Having the last word, I can kind of say whatever I want.
Yeah.
But no, I think the next 4 weeks Atlanta's going to get very healthy. Their schedule is the Jets, Tampa Bay, Arizona, and Carolina. That's 4 straight wins. That's done. That's locked up. And when they're healthy, I believe they have the best pass offense in the NFC. With Gonzalez, Roddy White, Julio Jones, Steven Jackson, who's a threat out of the backfield in the receiving game.
Yeah.
I feel like they have the best names, maybe, altogether, but
ooh,
not
you
the
obviously
best.
haven't watched any Atlanta games, have you?
Well, I try not to, so.
All right. And to end off our segment this week of NFC Contender Pretender, we're going to throw San Francisco in there. What do you guys think?
They're a contender. They got a great defense, possibly the best one in the league. And Kaepernick will come around a little bit. He'll settle down, and they got a power run game that I think's also one of the best in the league. They will contend for the NFC, not only get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're still a contender. They're still one of the best teams. I mean, it's early. They got to get back to what got them there last year. They got to start pounding that ball with Hunter and Gore, and wait to get those guys back like Crabtree and Vernon Davis didn't play 1 week. If they can get all their offensive pieces back together, that team will be rolling.
I agree. I actually agree. They are a contender. They are the most complete team in the NFC. Kaepernick, we got to remember here, he's only had 15 career starts. So basically, he's still a rookie. This week will be number 16. And they're going to get back Davis and Crabtree. His wide receiver core has not been very good to start the season. So I believe the chemistry is just going to continue to build, and the momentum is definitely going to propel them to maybe an NFC title game, Super Bowl. We'll see. And that's this week's edition of Contender Pretender. Next week we will outline the AFC and talk about Baltimore.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's do it.
I think my power's about to go out.
All right. Let's go to this week's Stats of the Week. What interesting stats do you guys have for me?
I have an interesting stat for you, gentlemen. My fantasy football team, 0-4. Not a good season. But I look at my points allowed, 550, 80 more points than the next best or the next highest team. Unbelievable. I'm getting everybody's best effort. And also, my points for is 4th in the league, and I'm still 0-4. It just shows you that you might have one of the best teams out there, but week to week.
Are you going to quit?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. I made some trades, and I'm coming in strong.
All right.
You know that, Trav, right?
We know you're not a quitter.
Champion your alliance, all right?
Yeah, I'm going to stick in that Green Bay-Detroit game and go to a stat where Detroit hasn't won a game in Lambeau since 1991. I think this week is a huge, huge game. I think if they get this win, they're going to show the league that they're ready to play the ball, baby.
I think we need to give Spencer a round of applause here. He did not talk about the Ravens this week. He hasn't talked about them
yet. Bowl prediction or something.
Okay, all right. My mistake. My interesting stat of the week is Denver's won 15 regular season games in a row. That's an impressive feat, but we've seen it before from New England and whoever else. But their average margin of victory in those 15 games, 17.3 points a game.
Yeah, how about 16 touchdowns in 4 games, most ever in the NFL?
No INTs.
Unbelievable.
I think he may be a superhero. Like I I said last week, Peyton Manning. You
He's
guys.
got a metal neck. That's the special power.
He's got a thick old neck on him.
All right, let's talk about some of the headlines we find intriguing in Week 5, and maybe some keys to victories for some of these teams in Week 5. Let's talk about New Orleans at Chicago.
I think Cutler has to take care of the ball for Chicago, like we were talking about earlier, and see what the New Orleans defense is really made of. And yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch because that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, I think it's a good road test for New Orleans. You know, Rob Ryan and that defense been looking sharp. And that what's his name? Kenny Vaccaro, that their first round draft pick's been playing lights out like a veteran back there. But yeah, I think for Chicago, can't turn the ball over. I would like to see him get back to the run game a little bit with Forte. And yeah, that's about it.
I'd like to say congrats to Jimmy Graham, first tight end ever to win Offensive Player of the Month. I think that's pretty cool. I think New Orleans run D, which is ranked 25th, I think they're going to need it this week because I think Chicago, after what happened last week, they're going to have an emphasis on handing the ball to Matt Forte and trying to make this game a little mucky in Chicago. So can Chicago stay balanced? I guess we shall see. And we all know New Orleans plays a little bit differently outside of that dome. They slow down just a little bit, so this game should look a little bit different than what New Orleans has looked maybe the first couple weeks. Let's head to Cincinnati, where the undefeated New England Patriots take on the 2-2 Cincinnati Bengals. What are some of your guys' keys?
I'm looking for the Bengals defense to get back to that week 2. Was it week 2? Yeah, against the Packers. They looked awesome. I don't know if it's just because the Packers are kind of so one-dimensional or what, but I'm looking for them to get back into that form and see if they can shut down the Patriots with Amendola.
Yeah, I every week it feels like, is Cincinnati going to take that next step? Are they really as good as, they've been hyped as they look on paper? I don't see it this week either. I think New England's playing top notch on both sides of the ball this year. A lot of people saying Coach of the Year early, maybe Sean Payton, maybe Andy Reid, but how about Bill Belichick?
No. How about no?
Okay,
Bill Belichick?
Okay. It wasn't a question to you. I was just stating it. You can talk now.
Also, it was rhetorical.
You get it.
So with me, both these teams, if you look at them statistically, they're both pretty much middle of the pack in all offensive and defensive stats. So it says that this is a pretty even matchup. But is it really? I don't know. I mean, this is Dalton's statement game, I think. It's his first game against New England. We're going to see what kind of looks Bill Belichick throws at Andy Dalton. And I think we're really going to get to see if Cincinnati's a pretender or a contender. And we'll probably talk about that next week.
Excited.
Let's talk about the Baltimore at Miami game.
Really interesting game. You got an up-and-coming team in Miami, and you got a team that I feel like it's kind of just lost. And I'm not just saying that because to annoy Spencer. I don't know. They just all over the place. They get a good win against Houston, and then they lose to Buffalo, and they, get blown out by the Broncos. So I don't know. We'll see what they got this week.
I think this week's the week. I think this week's going to turn them around. I think we're going to establish that run, go back to what got us there last year, pound that rock, baby, with Ray Rice and Pierce, and, play solid sound defense. You saw Miami. They turn the ball over. They're kind of careless. Tannehill's leading the league in fumbles right now.
Talking about turnovers, huh?
Yeah, I am, Travis.
That's
all those picks weren't his fault, you dumb. You next, Travis.
All right. I got a question here. Is Flacco an elite quarterback? 1 minute. I'll answer that. No, he is not. And I think he's shown that throughout the first 4 weeks of this season, and especially last week.
I would disagree. I think anybody who's won a Super Bowl, especially with the kind of run that he had, I'm not a big fan of the guy, but I do have to say he's elite. You win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I don't know what elite is really anymore. I don't really like that word. I feel like it's brought up way too much for different guys. I think he does his job well. He doesn't have his big targets this year. I think he's doing what he can with what he has, and he had to throw the ball way too much last week. Get back to running the football, get some guys back healthy, we'll be fine.
I think about talking about winning a Super Bowl and being elite can kind of be misleading because I think Baltimore had a quarterback that won a Super Bowl before Flacco, and we could definitely tell you Trent Dilfer is not elite.
But Trent Dilfer didn't throw 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions on that run either.
Exactly.
I will give Flacco credit. He played a perfect postseason, but he has not looked like a $25 million quarterback, $22 million quarterback through four weeks this season. And I know the rest of his offense is banged up around him, but where's that running game? 9 attempts last week?
That's what they're going to get back to this week. Why are you bringing up the running game when we're talking about Flacco? Don't change your mind now. 9
attempts?
Don't change your mind.
9 attempts for 24 yards for Ray Rice.
Don't change your mind.
Ray Rice has got less than 100 yards total this year, and yes, he's been injured. I think he was out for 1 week, and he's been banged up, but he's got 90-some yards on the season. This is how they got to where they were last year. They could at least.
We're talking about Flacco, first of all, and he has no one healthy. You got guys like Marlon Brown, Tannen Doss, Dallas Clark, Brandon Stokely. All these guys are old as can be. He's got no one there right now.
You want to talk about no one there? Tom Brady.
Torrey Smith's 4th in the league right now. 4th in the league in receiving.
I'm also looking to see if Miami is going to learn from Monday night's debacle against New Orleans. We shall see. Should be an interesting game. And I have a feeling we'll be talking about this one next week.
Oh, yeah.
Let's head to the semi-frozen tundra of Lambeau Field at this point in the year. Let's talk about... Oh! Wow.
Whatever. Move on.
Let's talk about Detroit at Green Bay as we scared away Spencer Strand.
What just happened? All right. I'm interested to see if the Packers can continue on somewhat of the running game that they've been able to establish the first couple weeks, and if their defense can really step up and shut down somewhat of a explosive offense and capitalize on the turnovers that I think Stafford's going to put out there for them. Did you shit yourself or what?
My computer.
Whatever. All right. Moving on.
You want me to go, Spence? Or
no, I'll go. We're talking about Green Bay and Detroit.
Or we can talk about Joe Flacco and the Ravens.
Or we can talk about what the hell you just did.
We can talk about that all day long, Travis. But no, I actually really looking forward to this game. Like I said.
What is going on, dude?
Sorry, I had to plug in the power cord, man. Like 2% battery. All right, sorry, folks. Let me get back.
Prepared as Joe Flacco, people.
Yeah, really intrigued for this game. I like what Detroit's been doing with the run game and the pass game. Their offensive line has looked like one of the better offensive lines in the league. Green Bay's all banged up. If they can get back to, I don't know. I mean, that last week, they can't turn the ball over like that if they expect to win. I don't expect them to turn the ball over like that. But, yeah, really intriguing for this game. Really excited for it.
All I got to say, anyone that has firearms, get them out. Because it's going to be a shootout this Sunday.
Oh, my God. I thought you were going to pick the Lions or something and expect to get shot.
Hey, we'll see a little bit later on if that is the case. But it's going to be a shootout. Both of these teams are top 5 pass offenses. Their pass defenses are both bottom 10. I expect big numbers through the air. I also am intrigued to see what's Green Bay's plan to stall Reggie Bush. We all seen what he did last week. And I kind of want to see what they have in store to kind of halt his success. And also, just like the Cincinnati game, the way Detroit's going to have success against Aaron Rodgers is put pressure on him. And the Detroit defense is dependent on their defensive line. They don't get to Rodgers, it's going to be a long day. Like Joe Flacco had last week.
Oh, wow.
So, let's head to Indianapolis, where the undefeated Seattle Seahawks take on the Indianapolis Colts. What are some of your keys to success?
It's going to be interesting to see how the Seahawks play on the road. They seem to not play very well on the road against a pretty good young Indianapolis team that's beat their division rival, the Niners, a couple weeks ago. So, see.
Yeah, I would agree. Seattle hasn't looked good outside of that 12th man. But, I think they can get it back on track. If they pound the ball versus Indy, control the clock, smart passes, dump down stuff with Russell Wilson. I think they'll be able to secure that victory.
Yes, Seattle has not looked good outside of that 12th man, but if they keep on winning, it's not going to matter. That's the funny thing. But I'm looking to see. I'm looking to see if Indianapolis can continue their run success. They're 4th in the NFL, and now that they have Trent Richardson and Ahmad Bradshaw, they have a pretty good 1-2 punch, and Seattle's defense is highly vaunted. So can they continue that run success? And like I said last week, and I'm going to continue to say until I see otherwise, make Russell Wilson beat you with his arm. He's had 7 turnovers through 4 games this year. And against the Houston game, Houston blew that game last week. Seattle did not deserve to win that, but they won it. And Russell Wilson did not have a good game because they stopped their running game. So if anyone can do that, hard as it may be, they are going to have success against Seattle this year.
Agreed. All right. I would normally do my cover 3 pick standings. That would be canceled this week. And
oh my gosh, dude!
Come back to him next week. I got some special things planned.
Don't worry, folks. Your favorite's still on top. That top dog's still sitting there.
He is. I will say the fantasy sleeper winner actually was myself.
He remembers that, folks. He remembers that.
We cancel the segment, and that's the only part he has. All right.
That's all I want to say. We can move on to the Week 5 picks.
I'm just going to say about the cover 3 pick standings, I will be giving you a little recap after the show. I'll patch that one in there for all you loyal fans. And we will be holding Brock Malik to that in Episode 5. We are looking forward to something special, and that better just not be a tease.
Right now it's just a tease. I got to think of something. All right.
So let's head to Week 5, our picks. I have a feeling it's going to get a little heated in here.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see who you guys have for New Orleans at Chicago.
New Orleans.
This one's a tough one for me, but I think I'm going to go with the hot team in New Orleans.
Okay. I'm going to go with Chicago, and I'll tell you why. Chicago has beat New Orleans 4 out of the last 5 times overall, and 4 out of the last 6 times at Chicago. Like I said earlier, New Orleans looks totally different when they are outside of that dome. And I think Forte is going to have a good game, receiving and rushing the ball. I expect it to be a little bit more of a slower-paced game, probably a little lower scoring than we're normally used to seeing from the Saints. But I believe at Chicago is the big reason. So Chicago wins that. You two have New Orleans. Let's head to Cincinnati. Does New England get their first loss, or does Cincinnati continue on that slide?
I believe New England gets that first loss. I'm picking them. I think their defense will step up in this game.
So you're picking Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take New England. I think they're just a better team on both sides of the ball. I think they'll be prepared, and Cincinnati looks skeptical at best.
Very skeptical.
I'm going to take the Michael Johnson-led Cincinnati Bengals to give New England their first loss of the year. I expect the game to be close, probably in the 20s, and I'm gonna throw a little prediction out there. Dalton leads a game-winning drive in the 4th quarter at home, and the Red Rocket gets that statement win. So Michael Johnson, what do you have to think about that? That's the question. Let's head to Green Bay. Detroit, Green Bay, an important divisional tilt. Who gets that win and maybe becomes a contender in some people's eyes?
I'm picking the Packers here. Like Spencer said, the Lions have never won since the year I was born, and I think that's going to continue.
Yeah, I agree. Green Bay all the way, baby. I think I think Brett Favre was undefeated in his career versus Detroit. Aaron Rodgers 8-1 right now versus them. Haven't won this since '91. I'm taking Green Bay to bounce back on a bye week. They got plenty of time to look at Detroit. They know what they're about. I expect them to get that win.
I don't think Brett Favre was undefeated in his career because I remember him losing a couple games at Detroit, especially on Thanksgiving.
Maybe it was at Detroit. Maybe he's undefeated at home. That has to be.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
So, Am I ready for this backlash? 22 years of pain and suffering are over in Detroit.
This is where
They
you
get the
put their
victory.
guns away.
They get the victory. And Green Bay faces a must-win next week at Baltimore. My dream matchup.
My
Detroit.
matchup.
What are you gonna do that week, dude?
It sucks, dude.
Detroit gets that victory.
I'm just shocked at your pick because you don't think that Detroit's a contender. And that would put them
And
in
I don't think Green Bay is either at this point.
Wow.
So someone's got to be a contender after this week. And I feel like Detroit gets this victory. I really do.
Cool.
All right, cool.
All right, let's move on.
All right, let's go to Indianapolis. Seattle. Seattle moved to 5-0.
I don't think Seattle has enough to win this one on the road. I think Indianapolis will be able to slow down their offense and be able to establish somewhat of a running game, slow the game down, and get a win at home, picking Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think they were a little sluggish. I think Seattle bounces back this week and takes care of Indianapolis, Travis's number 4 power ranking team, which is shocking. But yeah, Seattle.
I'm going to tell you this. Your mockery of my number 4 power ranking team is going to go up this week because they're going to get the win. They're going to give Seattle their first loss because I'm going to tell you why. Seattle is overhyped, especially their offense. Russell Wilson still has not made that next step in the passing game. And like I said, you stop their running game, they become very beatable. Indy gets the win. They rise to victory, or they they step up to the occasion. They get the victory at home.
They rise.
So, let's hear your upset picks of the week.
My upset pick is going to be Miami over Baltimore.
All right.
I actually, just give me a second. I got to think about this.
And once again, we are giving our picks because next week Brock will give us a recap. And we'll make it good.
Special surprise for everyone.
Trav, you can do your upset pick right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna think a little bit.
Even though Jake Locker got KO'd last game, I still think Ryan Fitzpatrick gives Kansas City their first loss this year in Nashville. And I believe I will be hearing those Tennessee Titan fans screaming from my lovely home here in sunny Nashville.
I like that pick, actually. Tennessee is better than people think.
They definitely are. And they are physical,
Yeah.
which they are almost the identical teams. They almost have identical offensive stats. Both their defenses are stout. I expect to be low scoring and to be a good old grind fest.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna take the New York Giants over the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow.
Okay. All right. To get their first victory.
To get their first win. Dude, you know what's interesting? There's a lot of teams this
What's
year.
interesting?
A lot of teams this year that people scratch their heads at, like thinking, "Is this what I'm seeing?" Titans are winning. Cleveland's playing a lot better. There's a lot of teams out there that weren't very good that are making a lot of good plays this year, and I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It seems like there's a lot more parity this year in the NFL than there has been in the past in a long time.
In all seriousness, I think you are right. And I scratch my head weekly about that. So.
You scratch a lot of times. What?
So, can we get your cold, bold predictions this week?
What?
My bold prediction this week is that Stafford throws 2 picks and a loss to Green Bay.
I'm gonna stay with my team. I'm gonna say Ray Rice has over 150 yards rushing.
I knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming, folks.
Dude, Brock picked the Packer game, dude.
But that is actually bold.
Like
I'm gonna
Lions.
get a Lions.
pick.
I'm gonna give you. Oh, Lions. Okay.
Exactly.
Little hard hearing today. Okay, my bold prediction. I'm going bold this week, as you guys may have all noticed. Jacksonville scores 3 touchdowns this week.
Oh my.
Yep.
Wow.
We should probably just shut down the show right now. So that's my bold prediction.
They might be the second 0-16 team in the league. They're that bad.
I was just gonna say that.
And I think they will be the worst 0-16 team if that happens because
for sure.
Detroit was actually in a couple games the year they went 0-16.
Yeah, they're pretty much terrible.
Do you think Jacksonville is as bad as what Joe Flacco looked last week?
Yeah. Yes, I do. They're terrible. They're awful.
Joe Flacco looked that bad last week. He'll bounce back.
You better hope so.
Jacksonville does look terrible every single week in and week out.
And is it possible that we may see Mr. Tim Tebow himself?
Hope so. I don't see why they don't. I mean, they at least sell jerseys. You know.
If it's about the money.
Right now they're giving out. People that buy a ticket, they're giving them 2 free beers to the game if they're over 21. Yeah.
I think that's kind of funny. They give them free drinks so they don't realize that they're getting the snot moved out of them.
Much. Yeah. Huh.
Clever marketing.
I'd like to go to a game in Jacksonville.
Hell yeah.
Because if I'm a Packer fan and I go down there, my team's pretty much guaranteed to win. I get 2 free beers, and it's sunny Florida.
Oh, if they're playing Green Bay, you're saying?
Yeah.
Dude, if I lived down there, I'd be going to games all the time. So cheap.
A little bit off the topic, but do you think Alabama could beat Jacksonville at a neutral site?
Man.
I don't think so.
I was gonna say, I don't think so. Like people say that.
Alabama's defense is not that good this year.
Oh,
well, and how many players on that Alabama team are gonna make it in the NFL and be, how many? Like seriously, how many do you think will be in the NFL?
I'm not sure. Maybe a handful.
Maybe let's say like 6 on each side of the ball. Every single one of those players on the Jacksonville team have made it to the NFL because they're like the next upper echelon of players in the world. So yeah, it's another level. I don't think
I have to agree with you, but wouldn't it be? I know I would watch the game actually.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
If the NFL, the worst team in the league each year, if they had to play the national champion of the NCAA, I guarantee you those ratings would be very high if the games were at least somewhat competitive.
Demoralizing for that team if they would lose.
Dude, that's stupid. That's not good, dude. You don't want that, dude.
That's demoralizing.
You don't want that in your NFL. You don't want that at all.
Like a day before the Super Bowl, they have that game.
It would affect the brand.
That's a bad look on the NFL. You don't want that.
All right, we're just throwing out some hypothetical what ifs, like my good friend Brock Malik has done to me throughout the years. I'd like to thank you for watching this show.
Oh, can we do Fantasy Sleeper, Commissioner?
Oh, we can do Fantasy Sleeper. Give us your sleeper. I was sleeping, so give us your sleeper.
Oh, my God. I'll take Curly from the Jets. He's emerged as the number 1 receiver with Santonio Holmes being out. So hopefully he gets some more looks and emerges a little bit, get some good points.
Yeah, I kind of lean on that with injuries. Darren McFadden's gone. I expect Rashad Jennings. He used to be a backup for Jones Drew. I expect him to have a big day.
Good luck with that, Spencer. I've seen that you're starting him against me this week in fantasy.
Yeah, I am.
So I thank you for that. I'm going to go with Danny Woodhead out of San Diego. Him and Phillip Rivers are really meshing. He is not the primary back, but he is, for all intensive purposes, the wide receiver out of the backfield. He had 2 touchdowns last week. I think he continues to be a pivotal part of the San Diego offense.
He's what we like to call an OW. You know what an OW is? It's a new roster spot they have in the NFL.
Okay. I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Do you know what it is?
No.
Brock, do you know what it is? Brock's frozen.
Brock is frozen in time.
They got an OW, offensive weapon.
Okay, I have heard that. I do like that. So, once again, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the show this week. Like I said before, if you'd like to leave your thoughts, team power rankings, maybe some of your picks, maybe shred apart some of my ideas or Spencer Strand's, or if you'd like to get a little knock-in on Joe Flacco, we always welcome that. Once again, who needs man-to-man when you can choose cover 3? Thank you for watching, and have a great weekend.